didn't even know this existed. I've been doing this myself.
InfoSpark is fantastic. Oh, I love it. It's my favorite thing, my favorite little tool ever. And by the way, if you are using InfoSparks and you come up with a graph, you can take the live link of that graph and post it on your website so that it is constantly updating that statistic on your site. Did I blow your mind, Bob?
You know how long it takes me to download all this stuff and click and then say make a graph and
Do you
stuff?
see this right here, you guys?
Yeah.
Is there a cap?
Do you see this on your main
Yep, there it is.
MLS site?
Yep.
That is an InfoSparks graph. It automatically updates. They don't do anything with this. That is what that is right there. It's an InfoSparks graph. So you click on InfoSparks, right here, and you're getting stats on the whole MLS. I can do sale price, median or average, new listings, homes for sale, pending sales, closed sales. Okay, what's happened with the trend of home for sales? Oh, the whole island. There's your trend. I'm tracking a 3-year trend.
Now, where do you determine whether it's a certain condo complex or not? Is that under custom?
I'm gonna get there for you.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. We can do pending sales. How many pendings do we have on the island right now? Oh, right, there it is. Closed sales. How many closed sales? Now I'm tracking a 12-month trend. You can change the trend if you want to see a rolling 6 months versus a rolling 12 months. By the way, let's say I'm kind of one of those people who doesn't really like my graph in a line. I'd rather have my graph in a, hold on, I know you can change it, I just want to get it backwards.
There you go.
Yep. I don't like a line, I'd rather have bars. Oh, there's your bars. You just switch line to bar.
Wow.
Okay, how do
All right.
how do I look up EL Parkside?
Okay, add an area. Type in EL Parkside.
Under
Where's the add-in area? Sorry.
property type or private?
You were under entire MLS,
Yeah,
click on the next box, and type in what you're looking for, it will come up. EL Parkside, click. There we go.
holy God.
Did I just make your lives a lot easier? By the way, you can email a live link to a client so they can always refer back to the email, and what they're pulling up is always what's happening live. How cool is that?
I didn't know anything about this.
InfoSparks. When you need statistics on an area, use InfoSparks. Now, if it's not matching what you're pulling up on the MLS, like let's say you're pulling up the days on market for a year in the MLS, make sure you're rolling the right amount of time, right? Make sure you're tracking the amount of time. So this is a 3-year. What if I want to see a max? I can literally see what's happened in the entire time that we've tracked on the MLS, which I think is back to the 80s. Takes a minute to load, but there you go. That's the trend of closed sales. Here's the sale price trend over the last, for median, over the last since, this one's got 2004.
Yeah, so that's the answer to the question, is Maui a good investment, right there, bang. Is Maui a good investment? Look,
Right, there you go. So this is a comparison, right? So what it's giving me, the red is the EL Parkside, the blue is the entire MLS. So let's say I just want to do the entire MLS, but I only want to do condos, right? Or I only want to do fee simple. So now I'm going to look at only fee simple. Or I'm going to look at, I can do single family, I can do condo. Okay? One more trick, you guys, as you're playing with this. It goes further. There are more areas and things that you can choose from. Lot size, bathrooms, bedrooms.
Pretty cool.
Those are the kind of stats you want for your clients. Nice. So that's what I print when I do open houses for an area. So I'll print some of those stats.
How do we export those? Is it?
So you can export it in two different ways. You can export it as a static graph or a live graph. And it is, let's see, where is it? Share, under share. You click on share, which is right next to print, and then you can do it as it's gonna ask you, do you want static or do you want live? Do you want it as a PDF? You can do it as a
Change
social
live,
media. By the way, if you're working on a certain area,
It's
pretty
pretty
cool.
cool.
you can pull
This is
that
pretty
and
cool.
post it
I
on
didn't
the
know
top of
this.
your Facebook page and pin it to the top of your Facebook page. Then you have a rolling stat for the, even if you did all of Maui.
That's what's cool, it's rolling, it's not static, that's cool.
You're
That's
welcome.
really cool.
By the way, I cannot tell you how many agents have been on this island in business for many, 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 many years. They don't even know it exists.
I didn't know it existed.
Is the coolest tool. It will save you so much time and energy. All right, moving on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You guys like that idea? Make your life a little easier? Good. Good, good, good. Okay, so, excuse me, Tom.
Hello, hey guys.
Here's the deal, on qualifying and scheduling buyers for the consultation, notice qualify, price, motivation, location, sound familiar? LP Mama, right? That's kind of what we're at over here. There's a buyer lead sheet on page 21. You guys are gonna wanna create your own buyer lead sheet as far as what kind of questions you want. I actually have different kinds of lead sheets. So like if somebody's interested in vacation rental, I'm asking different questions because their motivation is different, right? So that's an example of buyer's lead sheet. I want to talk to you about page 23, rating the buyer. Because you are going to want to clarify. Now, they have A buyers, B buyers, and C buyers. I want you to change this. Cross off C buyer and write nurture. Cross out B buyer and write watch. Cross off A buyer and write hot. Now, full disclosure, I really don't know if it's nurture and then watch or watch and then nurture. I was confused, those three. But those are your three categories and opportunities for people that you are working on, that you're cultivating in command. So that's how you categorize them. Now, these may make sense to you, all right? Marcus, tell me what hot is.
They're able, ready, and willing to purchase. They will be under contract in a matter of weeks.
Excellent. Do you think I was a hot buyer, watch buyer, or nurture buyer with Sarah today?
Hot.
Hot. I was ready to go. Money in hand. Let's find this. I'm motivated, right? Okay. Cherish, will you read the watch?
They are ready and willing, but not able right now. Something has to happen first. Get their existing home under contract, wait for their D6 buyer, or get the cash from their tax refund, etc.
Ooh, tax refund. That sounded familiar. Somebody mentioned that today, right? So the question for you is that person in that category in your opportunity, so that you're staying on top of that. That's where you keep on. All right. Nurture. Hunter, will you read nurture for me?
Sorry, I'm a little distracted.
Oh, 23. The bottom one. C buyer.
Cool. They have no immediate need. They may have a very exacting situation. For example, if they can sell the property for a specific price or get a house on the street, they have always lived.
Excellent. Or get the money for the down payment for their vacation rental, right? Like whatever. Some you have people, if someone says, I want to at some point, I just don't know when. That's the ones I put in that category. All right. I want to talk about the difference between, on page 24, pre-qualification versus pre-approval, because there is a big difference between the two. So a pre-qual is what, Bob? Can you read that to us?
Pre-qual is preliminary evaluation on how much a buyer can afford to borrow using initial information from the buyer.
Yes, so very limited, very initial information. Malia, will you read the pre-approval on page 24?
Yeah. Pre-approval is a more involved process in which the lender actually verifies the buyer's income, employment, etc., to evaluate how much the buyer can afford to borrow.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a moment. Do you write an offer with a pre-qual or a pre-approval?
Pre-approval.
What if
Ideally,
I thank you. Ideally, if I don't have a pre-approval but I have a pre-qual, do I still write an offer?
you bet.
Oh heck yeah, right? And then it's get that pre-approval. Like, it's-
Included in the offer.
Yes, 100%. And we actually encourage that in your purchase contract. You're gonna actually say, you know, we got it attached, here you go, here's a pre-approval. Because a pre-approval is what you want to receive, right? If you write an offer without a pre-call or a pre-approval, you better have a conversation with that agent and figure out why you're writing an offer that has no backing behind it that the buyer can do it, anything, okay? Because you have to have that conversation. There are situations where that happens. Something comes on the market and you just want to be the first offer and you say, look, we're like 2 days from our pre-qual, something's happening, but I'm gonna communicate with you. You want me to wait 2 days? You want me to write now? Because I know this is gonna sell fast. Communicate, right? So there are scenarios that show up that will be different and unique and you're gonna wanna write that offer. But the whole point is get that information as fast as possible, yes.
So the pre-approval would be when Sarah was talking about, hey, you might be able for 200 or 200,000 more, or maybe 1,000 less. So that would
Right.
be the approval.
She's looking for a pre-approval. So you do want to do the initial pre-qual, like that's just a, honestly, it's interesting. In an ideal world, you don't want to be sitting down with somebody and taking your time. You want to be on the phone and then they get at least a pre-qual. That's my way of running my business before we sit down and really start talking about properties, because then you're in the pre-approval process, right? It depends on the person and the situation. You got to kind of judge it. But if you were a seller, would you want to see a pre-approval with what you've just heard or a pre-qualification?
Pre-approval.
Right, that letter's actually, it hasn't been to an underwriter yet, but it has been through a little more stringent information. We verified income, right? Like, it's not just I make, it's X. We don't do that anymore, right? So pre-approval is always reference. All right, so explain the benefits of a pre-approval. Matthew, would you do that script for us?
Hold on, we got a little.
Oh, uh-oh.
Is that okay?
I think so.
I can actually unplug this.
Is that right? Everybody plug in?
Explain the benefits of pre-approval, is that what you
Yes.
said, I'm sorry?
Yep, perfect.
Mr. Buyer, it's important that you are pre-approved for a loan before you begin your home search. Pre-approval is really just a lender's determination of how much money you will be eligible to borrow. You'll know exactly what price range you can afford. When you find the home you love, you'll be able to take action quickly. Sellers will be more likely to accept an offer from a pre-approved buyer. And finally, you can see if there are any errors on your credit report and you can resolve them right away. Would you like to have one of my lenders call you to help you with your pre-approval? When is the best time?
You can use that. It's kind of wordy.
Yeah. When that-
You need to get a pre-approval. I'm gonna have my guy send you an email. It's not that hard, don't make it that difficult, right? But, you know, it gives you an idea of what we're looking at. All right, so 7 critical points in the mortgage process for realtors. So I do want you guys to understand these points. We talked a little bit about the initial handoff, and sometimes that needs to be a little more hand-holding in that initial handoff, right? Pre-qual and pre-approval, so we want to get to the next step as quickly as we can. If your buyer hasn't started home shopping or made a firm offer on a home, engage your loan officer to issue a pre-qual or pre-approval letter. We want to get that as quick as possible. So expectation setting on the what's, when's, and how's. So I want to read through that. Did everybody read? Shaylin, you didn't read? No. Okay, will you read that for us?
Sure. All right, so number 1.
3.
Okay, expected setting on what's, when, and how. Once you've placed your buyer into the loan officer's hands and the initial evaluation has been made for the buyer's financial strength, it's a good time for you to let the loan officer know what events in the mortgage process you want to know about or not know, when you want to be updated immediately, daily, weekly, and how you wish to be contacted, phone, email, or text. You would be surprised how widely these preferences vary from agent to agent, and by being clear with your loan officer upfront, remove guesswork and increase the odds for a smooth transaction. During the conversation, you be sure to confirm with the loan officer what protocols they have established for communication with your client and any other agent involved in the transaction.
So what is this telling you?
Stay involved.
Right, at what level do you want to stay involved?
Yeah.
And the other party can't read your mind, right?
Communicate and state your needs.
Communicate and tell them what you want, right? That's all it is, like, let them know how you prefer to work and what you, I mean, you're building a relationship with these lenders. Generally, you have sort of your go-tos. One of my go-to lenders can get flaky when she's busy. That being said, she's a rock star lender, but she can get flaky when she's busy. I literally tell the clients that. If you ever can't reach her, she gets overwhelmed sometimes and she won't get back to you. I'm your call. Just call me and say she's not communicating with me. But I set them up for that ahead of time. I communicate. I go, but look, she's a rock star with people who don't have great FICO scores, and that's your scenario. So let's put you with somebody who's a rock star, right? But I let them know this is a potential problem, and then when the problem shows up, they go, oh, okay, and then they call me, and I call her, and she calls them, and everybody's happy, right? So you have to set these communication standards up from the beginning. So all this is saying is don't expect your lender to understand what you prefer in communication style, right? I have a scenario yesterday, I was talking to somebody, and I'm not the kind of person who will say thank you or receive to every bit of paperwork I get in my email. So I don't want everybody saying that to me. I have enough emails every day. I'm like, do not reply. If there's an issue, we'll figure it, right? But I'm like, I don't need to know, like, oh, thank you so much for that. That was wonderful. Oh, no, you're welcome. I'm like, don't do that to my email. Don't blow me up. So I communicated with her. I said, if you prefer me to do that, I will do that for you. I'm not the person to naturally do that. Like, I won't say, I received that document, because I just feel like there's so many emails floating out there that I want to eliminate how many emails we're all getting, okay? So that's just a preference, right? You got to communicate, like, what do you want and what works for you, and so that you can work together. So that's all that's saying. Set that up. Yes?
Could I make a suggestion? When
Sure.
you're dealing with a lender, let's say you are dealing with a buyer, and the buyer has been, just for the sake of math, has been pre-approved for a $600,000 loan, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They're buying a condo at EL Parkside for 4.25, and they've offered 410, and the seller has accepted the offer at 410, okay? You sure as hell don't wanna have a pre-approval letter from the lender with your offer saying he's pre-approved for $600,000. Cause they're gonna say, why am I gonna discount my 4.25 down to 410? This guy can pay 600. So that's, talk to your lender, they'll
Yeah.
draft a new letter for you that says
Always.
they've been pre-approved for 410.
Yeah. With
And-
every purchase contract, you get a new letter that says the
Yeah,
amount on the
says the
purchase
amount,
price.
not above the amount, not above.
We all have
You don't wanna have some generic thing.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I also want to say, sometimes people are afraid, like on a cash purchase, they're going, well, I don't wanna let them know I have $975,000 in this account when I agree that I'm paying them $750,000. Cash is different, because people keep their cash for other reasons in life, so it's a different, so just keep those as separate silos in your brain, right? Like when you're doing a pre-approval letter, it's always for the amount on the purchase price.
Yep.
Always. I've had lenders have to write me 5 letters. I'm like, just keep writing them. I'm like, okay. I mean, they go in there and they just change the amount.
They
and
change the
send
number
me
in
one,
print,
right?
and you're
It's
done.
not that hard. They're totally fine with it. All right, so reinforcing loan requirements to the buyer. So this may help, Cherish. Marcus, will you read that one for us? Number 4.
There's no denying that tightened loan investor requirements and TILA-RESPA integrated disclosure, TRID rules have made the mortgage process more complicated, which makes borrower cooperation more important than ever. The home buyer will hear this loud and clear from the lender, but it's a good idea for you to reinforce this message by giving your buyer a pep talk, encouraging him to be responsive to all information requests. Set expectations with the buyer that the lender will ask for numerous documents at the beginning of the process, with follow-up requests also likely as the process progresses. Make sure your buyers understand the importance of having that information ready and submitting it in a timely manner.
So here's what I say. Because people will always go, I got all my documents in. No. You will never have all your documents in until you give them blood and DNA. Then you will be done. I'm like, they will constantly come back to me, we need more, we need more, we need more, we need more. And you're gonna be like, why? I don't understand. It's because of all those people that screwed us up in 2008. So just, it is what it is, just keep giving them everything you can give them, and the quicker the better. That's how it is. But the reality is you're gonna give them documents and they're gonna want more, and they're gonna want more. You are never done until we literally close escrow, and they might even call you afterwards and go, hey,
Yep, forgot one thing, you need to sign it, yeah. All the
Exactly,
time.
so, I know, just expect that this is a never-ending conversation of paperwork. All right, so unexpected events. Cherish, will you read that one for me?
Yes. Life continues to happen during the mortgage process, which occasionally can change the circumstances of the deal. Be sure your buyers know the importance of communicating any changes as soon as possible. Contact your loan officer immediately upon learning that the buyer has changed jobs, gotten divorced or married, or that something has happened to the property that will lead to renegotiated contract terms. A good lender can scramble and find viable loan alternatives, but time is of the essence.
Okay, so this is a really good time to have that conversation about how much can your buyers spend before they screw up their loan. So you know what my conversation is? It's the same as you guys. If you're gonna spend more than $100, I want a text. Like, seriously, from Costco, the bill's $3.50. Okay, as long as you regularly go to Costco, like, seriously, I'm like, anything over $100, send me a text. We do not want anything to mess this up.
Don't open a new charge card, don't
No.
buy a car.
Don't pay anything
Don't
off
pay
that you
anything
weren't told to
off.
pay off, like, you don't touch
Don't-
anything.
No.
Cause people get all
Good.
excited and they'll go to the furniture store and they'll
Oh,
be like,
God.
oh, well, it takes 3 weeks anyway, so we want this and this and this, and they'll get a credit card for $5,000 and they'll blow their loan.
Yep,
It happens.
Yep.
It happens. And I always preface it this way. I know you guys are smarter than this. That being said, I've got to say this because we don't want this to happen. And then I go through all the rules of what you do not want to do before we close escrow. The day I hand you your keys, you can go spend all the money
All the
you
money
want.
you
You can
want.
charge all your cards, you can buy anything you want, but wait till I give you your keys. Nothing happens till I give you your keys. Like, seriously. Because here's what happens. And this is where people are like, the lender wants what? Like, they get a check from someone they don't normally get a check for. They deposit it in their account, and the lender's like, ding, what's that? I need a trail, and I know who came from and why you got it.
What?
oh, yeah.
Anything unusual, the lender's gonna pull it out. Because remember, we got screwed because of what we did. The lenders, it was so messed up that now there's all these laws and rules, so lenders are like on top of everything. So you just gotta be straight up.
Any influx of cash, like
Yep.
all of a sudden your deposit goes up $10,000.
So how long do you have to like be, not frugal, I mean, how long does it take for you to get your loan going through?
Escrow time.
Escrow, so
Not
that-
till the loan here's the thing, I don't even
No.
tell people I don't say till you fund, I say till I hand you the keys.
Right.
Because people will think they're funded before they're funded and they'll mess that up too. So I just go, your cue to go spend whatever you want is when I give you the keys. You can buy whatever you want. Until then, don't do anything. Don't go get a new car, don't go, yeah, all those
And also
things.
don't pay anything off either.
Yes,
I mean,
unless the lender specifically tells you, pay this off, do not pay anything off, do not do anything unusual or not normal for what you do. Yeah, gonna have that conversation with you. All right.
think of it like a puddle, you don't wanna throw any rocks in the puddle.
Right.
Almost like
You just
that.
gotta keep it really
No rocks in
smooth.
the puddle.
Right, so post-approval lockout, once your buyer has received final loan approval, congratulate them, but also tell them that between now and loan closing is a terrible time to buy a new car or furniture, or any new debt, or quit a job. They will get the same message from the lender, but you would be amazed how often it is forgotten or ignored. Usually people, when I say that, like, if you're gonna spend more than $100, text me first. They like get it. Seriously, I'm like, oh, I'm dead, I'm not kidding.
You said even grocery shopping.
Yeah, if they're at Costco, I'm at Costco, can I spend $350? Do you shop at Costco all the time? Yes, go for it, right? That's, I'm like, it's a normal purchase for you. If they're like, I haven't been to Costco in 2 years, put it all back on the shelves and walk out of that store right now. I don't wanna see any purchases from anywhere you don't normally purchase.
Or you don't,
I mean,
go there.
literally, just wait. All right, loan closing. So you gave your loan officer the specifics of the loan closing, date, time, name, and address of the closing agent. At some point early in the process, do not forget to update them if any of this information changes. Oh, right. This is especially important today with the new TRID rules on the issuance of timing of closing disclosures. With your commission check almost at hand, it's better to be safe than sorry. Honestly, most of that stuff is emailed, so unless an email change is happening, they just have to, there's rules about giving the closing statement and what the charges are and stuff. It's all super important. All right, So, this is about getting the appointment. So if it's an A buyer, a hot buyer, it says get them in the car immediately. I would put a little caveat, after a buyer's consultation, right? Let's make sure we have the consultation with them. B, identify what needs to happen first, then help them achieve their goal. C buyers, manage them electronically by putting them in your database. That says an 8x8 and a 33 touch. We don't really have those. We just have the 36, but you want to communicate with them, right? All right. So, schedule the appointment for the buyer consultation. Hunter, will you read that one for me? The script on 29?
Yep, the property at 123 Maple Street is listed.
Oh, do me a favor. Do the appointment for the buyer consultation on 29. Scoot over one more page.
Oh,
We're going to move over to that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. I'd like to invite you to come into my office so we can discuss what you are looking for in your next home and use my MLS to review properties. This way, we can search for homes that fit your criteria. When we meet at my office, we can work together to make the most of your time. I can use the tools I have to find the best matches for you and check for any contingencies and other details that would not be apparent from the property visit alone. Are weekends or weekdays better for you?
Cool. All right. Page 30. So next we're going to move on to the buyer consultation. So instead of you guys going through this buyer consultation, I had Sarah come in so that you could see her do it. This is also, just so you know, this buyer's consult is available on the Ignite student resources, so you guys can pull that down. Those of you in productivity coaching, you've got access to the drive, there's ones in there, right? You wanna make it your own, right? What do you wanna talk about? What do you think is important? Think about your buyers, what are they gonna wanna know? So, just like Sarah did, you're gonna have your own. So let's go ahead and turn to page 45. So we're gonna do a little bit of an exercise here. So on page 45, it says close for the agreement. So you guys are gonna work through page 45 and 46 with your partner. So everybody's gonna pair up. Marcus, you and I are just gonna work together. So everybody grab a partner right now. If you guys wanna just turn your chairs around at the front, that would be the best. Work with the person behind you. We're gonna start on page 45, and what you guys are gonna do is you're gonna work through the scripts. So you're gonna read the first script, right? What does it say? And then you guys are going through your book. So the whole point is, like, do you like it? Do you not like it? Cross it out, or put a star next to it, or highlight something, or there's a line that you love, right? That's what we're doing. And we're gonna, after you work through page 45, you're gonna go to page 46. And we're gonna start working on the objections. And then I want you to go through the objections on 47. And then when you finish that, we will switch partners. So I want you guys to work through these together, so you're practicing and kind of picking whether you like these or not, as you're practicing them with your partner. Pick an A and a B. You're in a B. Pick an A and a B.
The A.
The A. B's, raise your hand. B's, raise your hand, you're going first.
You're gonna do the pages?
B's are going first. You're first.
Apologize.
So ask me to do this.
Malia.
All I can ask you is
It's easier for you.
No, I'm so bad. Like, I met this guy at I was in the produce section, and he like told me his name 3 times, and then after the end of the conversation, it was just a bullcrap conversation. But I was like, your name again? He probably thought I was like Doris or something.
Sounds good.
Okay,
So closing the buyer representation. Okay, what we're going to do now is sign
closing the buyer representation agreement number 1. What we're going to do now is sign the buyer representation agreement, which says we're going to work through
I have
this.
the opportunity to
Literally, we're seeing 30. And this is in some of the top.
Yes, it is.
Never.
Red from the script.
No, never.
Oh, really?
I've Like
It's a
body
disc
fold.
class.
Yeah.
She's really not like
And nobody ever.
Yeah.
Seem to have a
So can you
professional
check out
team
probably
for
15
best
different
home,
so I'm like-
search for the best home, and negotiate to get the most.
Cause cause they're built on trust, and so it's like hard for me,
Right.
and I get what they're saying, but it's a relationship.
Here's how we take care
Here's
of
how we
it.
take care of it.
You just
Uh,
need
for
to
any
okay
job.
this
But,
agreement.
I know we're supposed to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not doing it, I probably would.
Yeah.
So if I don't sell this for a
So
while, I'm
we call this
sorry.
agreement-
No, that's how I felt like the guy.
Wait, I agree with you.
We call this agreement ongoing.
And I was just like,
I agree we will to
90%
take no action detrimental to your best
It's a
interest.
reciprocal
It's a
agreement.
reciprocal agreement that I
I
ask you
had like a
to
meeting with my
do
coach today. I'm like, I
Around
have
that
this
stuff,
day.
but
the
that's
lowest price.
But
the
he's
lowest
never
price.
used it, like, I think like that.
Cool.
I need someone.
Didn't get, that one didn't close me.
I know, I think.
Yeah.
The
It's
way
kind
that
of, yeah, a little oil.
the way Sarah said it,
It's like,
this is how I get paid.
Okay.
See, I like that, it's right
So,
there.
like,
So-
I have a list of
It's
things
too
to ask
like,
him,
the
you know?
use one of these
Okay.
and
That's
it's
why
shade for 4 years. And give you the density of the outer.
I'm more of a, the guy I work with is just.
Okay, so I'm just-
That's
Mine, I say,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so
that's
say
what I was
no.
He's been
Yeah.
doing it for like 30 years. and
Mr.
Right.
Mrs. Buyer, because of the, I provide, we work with buyers who work exclusively with.
I like,
I'm gonna go to
like,
the-
give me a 12
Perfect, yeah.
Without it, I am.
Free to work on
Like,
it.
I'm gonna call you.
Have you
Go
represent your best interest.
Yeah.
Expertise in buying the best home with the best price.
With this tool, I have the opportunity to negotiate for you and get you the
You
best,
sign the buyer's representation.
and getting the best deals in
This is all one.
perfect.
I'll negotiate to get it right.
When you engage me as your real estate salesperson, you give me the
Closing the
tools
buyer
I need to
representation
represent
agreement
you.
number 2.
If you sign the buyer
Do you see how it would benefit you to have a professional looking out for your
contractually
best interests
obligated
and
to
serve for
share
the best
any
home
information
negotiation?
about the
Tell them
seller's
you're gonna
situation
do
right
it.
now.
Send
For
it.
example,
This
if it's a divorce.
This form allows me to represent you to look out for the best
Without that
interests.
agreement in
Here's
place,
how.
I'm actually selling you. That means that I don't
What I
represent
would
you.
do though,
Okay, no.
is that,
Yeah, so I feel like some of the aggressive ones,
Do the right
I would
thing
cut out.
and sign the
finishing
buyer
like buying and
representation.
stuff.
Yeah, because it's buyer's representation.
I like when she said,
The loyalty agreement.
why does
One of the
it
games
matter?
together.
It's just an easy way for us to.
And,
There's things
Kind
that
of not.
Yeah,
share
so,
with you.
That's
you know,
what
it's gonna help us.
I would do that.
Whatever
Yeah.
people
When you think about real estate, it's your own business.
Right, well, I was telling, I think, well, see, I started in there in October, and I was saying, like, I would be, and it's just like, it was hard to juggle everything, with 10, and it's just turned into.
No, 4 and 3-year-old at home,
Yeah.
14-year-old from previous life.
Yeah, well, it's just like a lot of like juggling, so I went to like a couple,
That's kind of.
and it was like,
I
everything,
understand
I did say that.
Think of this agreement as.
and then I had my sister get buy a car, it was her first like big purchase, she's 20 years old.
I was always taught by the guy that if they don't.
Why didn't you want
Well, my sister's not, I like that color, I'm like, it's red, and I was like, $20.
As
for
long
this,
as,
like,
but there were many things we
And
were
he's like,
talking
well,
about.
how much, she didn't have a lot to put down.
We were talking door to door.
$500, which is nothing, right? So he's like, what if I, he's like, if I can get your monthly payment for this, I think you go for it.
So-
And she was like, and I'm looking at it, like, it's on it, you know, I'm like, this is the hours of my life. But, oh, and then like, you had like the manager come out, because I was just like, I can't do it, like, you can't write, you have to, and he was just like, so jabby, and I was like, I do not want to enter
I've done it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been
Whoever
lucky.
brings me the better deal.
I used to broker.
I literally said to this guy, I said, okay,
So, okay, I have a condo, right?
On that thought, I never did it, but I thought really just use the broker and say, take this is
So I
what
need
you
to
touch
tell
her.
you, I don't want
And
to.
then you do everything, this is what we're gonna do.
Some people won't be comfortable with this.
You have to give me out. My friend told me, like, I know
dance by, look like this.
something coming out of this, and he's like, you're retarded. Like, yeah, I have a contact right now.
Yeah.
Really? Is that what the game you're playing?
Yeah.
And he said,
It's brand new, doesn't
I never
matter.
thought of it that way. I said, well, think of it.
I like that.
So, like, I'm not
I'm not gonna be your second choice. Or I'm not gonna go to the prom with you only. Alice says no.
Like Susan Red Dress looking best.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it.
You get something quoted, this and
That's not
that.
how you say yes.
Everything about
Like
it.
everything.
Everything.
And he's a car guy.
To like technology, like everything.
Yeah, that's what he
Send
said.
my reputation agreement with me. I am contractually.
Oh, we got a new car, right? I just sold your car.
Without it, I'm
I
done.
think that's what I need to get more comfortable with, you know, I mean, not necessarily making it all about things. Like, I'm having a hard time, I had a guy,
Have you done any
This one is really good. This one.
I used to sell, so I worked
And
for
also
a
this one,
company called
I changed
Nash
my mind.
International,
Right.
paddleboarding, oil boards, whatever.
Right.
All of their international.
What do you do?
Well, God, I mean, I was saying now, like, like going to, I mean, like, work out, but I don't.
Yeah, but unless you say there's a lot of
So
sale,
then,
it's
once
like
an
an
advertising,
advertising.
he started out with
You
either
know,
it
you're
wasn't,
not
didn't
selling.
exist.
Right.
So everybody advertising magazines.
If you haven't switched yet, make sure you
30
switch.
days, the reason they put 30
But
days
It's an
is
instructor, so it's
they had to
kind
get
of
the
the
back
same
end
thing,
of
like
30 days in
Yeah.
the front.
Yeah.
You
But
would
they used to say,
Right.
over time, you and I are
I just need to get like little key things,
now,
I
don't,
think.
please don't
yeah.
ever
Like I have
advertise
this
in
guy that I
magazines.
called who I never ever talked to. I mean, I know his baby mama, like
So,
I
yeah,
have my
one day,
girlfriend.
see you,
But he
bye.
was just like basically like I'm not gonna like refer you because you know you're in person. And I'm just like,
what time we finish, we're gonna
like,
ask
should you rather refer some
Okay.
random
Yeah.
person?
I just have a
I couldn't believe that. But then I was like,
No, this is where you, this is a perfect inning, this is where you say, you know.
like take some of it through.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to, you can just get one in each coverage. The wonderful thing about Keller Williams is that she's a lead psychiatrist, and productivity coaches, you somebody for an accident, it's done kids lives. Keller Williams is the one.
Put that in, and he's also the.
It's a company that I want to let a buyer.
Put that in.
Real estate company. I have
The one that, yeah, he knew.
people that I have is a lot more powerful than somebody else. Just be confident about why you do it.
Yeah, I was just like, I was thinking about it.
No wonder you're divorced.
Yeah.
So where'd you have to have?
To-
Find yourself
Oh,
out.
yeah, it's funny.
I can do a call later.
Yeah, I need to like,
I can do that.
Like, you-
This is
Yeah.
good.
I think I'm done.
yeah, yeah.
4:00.
This is good.
We'll talk.
I'll write that down.
Like, well, especially because
Okay, did we get through, did the second person get through them?
Is she allowed to have other
yeah,
people open?
I know.
Yeah. Okay, flip back around, come back to me. Me. So Matthew, you asked earlier about, was it you who asked if people refused to sign it? Was that you? Or was that,
Hunter.
you asked if people
Yeah.
refused to sign it, like what do you
What do
do?
you
So did that answer some questions, like you've got some things to say, right? Okay, so, did any of you cringe when you read the know when to let a buyer go? I hope not.
Which one was that?
That's the
Bottom
one
of
where you
47.
say, thanks for your
No.
time, thanks for coming in to meet me
It's kind of a
today.
relief.
Yeah, it was kind of good.
Okay, so, very good point, Marcus. I wouldn't just let him go. I find an agent that's totally fine with somebody who doesn't sign a buyer broker agreement and refer.
Get a referral.
Oh.
Heck yeah, get a referral. And you can basically just say like, you know, yeah, I'm too busy to work with anybody who doesn't commit to me, so I really appreciate your time, but I'd like to connect you with somebody who I think would be a better fit for you.
Don't they say no to that too?
If they
Bye.
say no, oh, then I wouldn't even.
See you
consider
later.
it. Yeah, it's freeing to fire someone, let me tell you. All right. It really is, you're like, okay. All right, so we are gonna go through the needs analysis. So I just wanna go through, this is page 49, so we're gonna read through this. We'll just circle the room, we're gonna start with Marcus, and then we'll go to Malia. So read number 1.
listen and take notes. Ask, do you mind if I take notes?
Excellent, so like you asked, do you mind if I record?
Yeah.
Yeah. Malia,
Be specific. You can't meet and exceed a buyer's wants, needs, and values if you don't know what they are. Ask questions and dig deeper using the what about blank is important to question.
very nice. Bob?
Ask what else? Holy God, is that important? As you go through each group of questions, continually ask what else is important until they finally say, I can't think of anything else.
And then say, well, if there was one more thing, what would it be? And here's the thing, I'm gonna tell you guys that digging 3 questions deep as the person who asked the question feels awkward. It is not perceived as awkward to somebody that you're actually getting this kind of information from. I swear to you, you're gonna be like, I've said this before to you, asked and answered. No, they don't perceive it that way. They come up with something else, and a lot of times, that is your nugget.
Yeah.
After you've asked it the 3rd
They
time.
perceive you as the expert that you asked that question.
Exactly, they're like, whoa, how'd you get that out of me? It's like, so I'm good at what I do. All right, next one, who's next? Hunter.
Ask outside the ideal. For example, buyers may mention a ranch-style home as their ideal, but may like a Cape-style almost as much. You need to discern whether they would be perfectly happy with an alternative if it fits the other criteria.
Yes, get good at understanding when they don't know what they want. Cherish, or sorry, Shayla, yeah.
Never assume. If you aren't entirely clear on something a buyer is saying, ask for clarification.
Yes.
Number 6, ask about household, not family. Asking about a person's family could be a violation of the fair housing laws.
Circle that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of violations of that. There's a lot of violations
Can we do an example?
of violation
Or like in this case, like ask about the household.
in that scenario.
Yeah,
Yeah, do
Well,
you have,
you
know, like,
do you have
yeah.
kids?
You can't say that.
can't say that.
Who will the other people be in the home? Right? You don't wanna say things like, do you have kids? You have to be very careful. You can't put kid-friendly in the remarks, right? You can't do those things.
That's discriminating against people that don't wanna have kids.
Exactly. You can't say perfect for a couple, because then you're discriminating against people who have kids, right? Or singles.
Or singles.
But
Right,
don't people
so-
say small family or new family house?
No.
Cannot say those things.
I feel like I've seen it.
Oh, what did I just say? It's violations are everywhere. You just don't wanna be the person with the violations. But yes, they're everywhere.
As professionals, we
Yes.
can't say it, but can like homeowners say that, like in a Craigslist ad and stuff like that?
They can do whatever they want. They don't have a, they aren't held to the standard that we are.
Yeah.
So you have to understand, we follow a code of ethics, we follow fair housing rules, we have to follow these laws because our license is a license, so we are held to these standards. So.
Now, if you get them in your car and, the person that's in your car says, well, we got 4 kids, you got any kids, Bob? Boom, they just told,
Right.
you know, they volunteered that.
Yeah.
You know, then
Absolutely.
we can talk about our kids all bloody day long. Yeah.
Did you say who will the other people be
Living in the home.
living in?
That's what I usually ask,
Okay.
who else will be living in the home with you? So then they'll divulge.
Yeah.
Oh, we got 2 kids, my husband's father will be with us, you know, they'll tell you.
You can ask about
Yeah.
pets, right, and like.
Pets you can, because they're not a discriminated group yet. Say
Yeah.
yet. You know, you cannot put things like walkable. You cannot say walkable.
No, wheelchair people. No.
Right, because it's an offense to people that can't walk. Like, you have to be very careful about these things. That's why, I know it sounds a little bit like over the top when your broker's reviewing all your marketing material and all your, this is why. Because the violations are everywhere. Of course, you've seen it, and probably from realtors. Yeah, you've seen it.
Don't most of the sites have walk scores?
Yeah, but did you say sites?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like real estate selling sites have like walk scores when you like,
A real estate selling site, like a realtor.com or something?
oh, maybe like a Redfin or something.
Yeah.
I know that I've seen like, this
Yeah,
is
I'm
a-
not sure how they get away with that. There are certain things that happen that I'm like, how is that not a violation of blah, 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 and I don't know, they have workarounds and lawyers and blah, and sometimes they're just breaking the law, so, I don't know. All right,
There's probably an asterisk someplace that in our terminology, walk score refers to within a mile of the residence.
right, exactly, they do
Okay.
something, yeah,
Not that you actually walk to it, but.
Right.
They redefined it, basically.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you're right.
Yeah, cause
Yeah,
it's,
so
I would, yeah,
the term is
don't have a
goofy.
walk score on your website, it's probably not a good idea. Matthew, number 7.
Make it a dialogue. Take advantage of this time to build rapport as well by keeping the tone conversational, not interrogational.
Yes, and this is really important, like, you wanna make sure that someone doesn't feel interrogated when you're asking them for questions deep, right? So it's how you deliver it, right? And how you acknowledge what they're saying, right? That make sense to you guys? Okay. All right. So, page 53, we're gonna do another little work through. So, we're gonna do a needs analysis. You guys are gonna do 5 minutes each. So what we're gonna do is page 51, we're gonna partner up again, same partners. Whoever started last time, make that person the same person. I want you to do the script, and then I want you to do the 3 questions deep, just the ones they give you the examples for. And then I want you to do the script on page 52, and then ask the 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. And you know what, that's probably gonna take you 10 minutes each. So I'll flip you after 10 minutes. And this is how we're gonna wrap up class. I want you guys to get used to asking these questions. So, remember what we just talked about, right? So you're working on 51 and 52. And we're probably gonna get out of here like in 5 minutes.
My goal is to give you 5 star, 10 star.
Here. Hunter, go ahead and work with Marcus. I'll work with Shane.
I
Oh my
can.
goodness. Is this happening? Okay. Emily, thank you for letting me help you. My goal is to give you a 10+ customer experience. So that I'd like to get a better.